Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Check-In by TMR. It is almost 1,800 miles from Sao Paulo, Brazil, to Marco Island, Florida, the city where Meire Ramos, the Senior Global Director of Sales for Retail and Leisure at Marriott International, now makes her home. Marie is my guest for this episode of the podcast, someone who I feel very fortunate to talk to not just because of her candor and her bright personality, but because her career is one of many in the travel and hospitality industries that has allowed for that kind of movement of career and life, something that a lot of us may overlook from time to time. In this interview, she talks about that journey, including growing up in one of the most culturally diverse cities in the world and then making the move to the US, first to Miami and now to her current home in Marco Island. For those of you who don't know Marie, she's one of the most engaging people I've had the privilege of speaking to in the industry, and someone who I hope you get to know in this episode, including her ability to speak three different languages, her growing love of pickleball, and a lot more. During the interview, she also talks about what makes a great hotel, which is something she would know better than most people, considering her 2 decades plus working in the hospitality space. She also talks about how travel advisors should think about that choice when building a vacation for her clients. She also talks about what makes a great hotel, which is something she would know better than most people considering her 2 decades plus in the industry. She also talks about how travel advisors should think about that choice when building a vacation for their clients. She puts it better than I can, but it's more about just matching a client to a location or matching a price point to a budget. It's about building an experience and realizing that the choice of a hotel has to fit into that. It's really one of the most fun conversations I've had on this series, and I hope you enjoy it too. So, without further ado, let's check in with Marie.
Hey Daniel, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good, good. Can't complain.
Well, it's nice to meet you. I don't think I've ever met you. I know we have a lot of mutual friends on LinkedIn, I saw, but I don't think I've ever met you formally.
No, I didn't have the pleasure yet, but I'm happy to be able to do that today.
But yeah, well, thanks for taking the time. I know how busy things are for everyone these days in the travel industry, but I'm glad I'm able to meet you and talk to you today about sort of your career in hospitality and sort of what you're seeing with the industry right now too.
Sounds good. I'm excited about it.
So where are you based? I know your role with Marriott sort of would have you a lot of different places, but are you based at the headquarters in Maryland?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Thank God I'm able to work remote, and I live on a little island in Florida. It's called Marco Island,
Okay.
about 30 minutes close to Naples. And I found this paradise about 15 years ago, and I just love it. It's such a peaceful place.
How did you find it? Was it part of your career or your work that you noticed you got introduced to the island?
No, it's not actually. Funny enough, my father used to love rental houses here and bring the whole family for us to spend vacations. And I just absolutely fall in love with this place. And in 2000, I believe it was 2003, I had the opportunity to buy a vacation home here. And I did. And I used to come just on the weekends. But as you know, in 2017, Marriott purchased Starwood. And Marriott has the philosophy that, the sales organization can work out of a home, can be on home base instead of our office. So I was, let's take a year, and try this home thing. And I did, and I love it.
Okay.
And I moved from Miami, which was a very fast-paced city, which my family is all there, and become, a love citizen of Marco Island.
Wait, so what is life like on Marco Island? And I mean, you mentioned Miami was fast, so I assume it's slower on Marco Island, but is there a lot of I know it's a vacation place too. Is there a lot of vacationers there constantly? Does it feel like a tourist destination when you're sort of going about your daily life?
Well, I have to say, Daniel, it was funny enough. When I first bought the house here in 2003, it was a very different. you know, look and feel. It was a lot of older community, and you can feel that, right? So 9 o'clock, the restaurants was closed. They used to have early birds everywhere. It was a fun. So with the years, you can see that more young crowd is coming. And after the pandemic, Mark Island just exploded, right? I mean, we do have a beautiful JW Marriott right here on the island, which they built a new tower called the Serene, which is for adults only, and now they have almost 1,000 rooms, and it's just absolutely incredible the amount of people that is in the island. So you can see a lot of Airbnb. They
Okay.
always the island is really busy, and you can see a lot of more young people, couples, people moving from New York, and it has changed tremendously, but it's still, my traffic here is like 5 minutes to go from
Okay.
my house to Publix. It's never going to compare to Miami. The restaurants now open until 11. Woohoo! So it's getting a little bit faster pace, if you will.
Okay. And it does seem that I mean, the way you speak about it, it seems like you very much enjoy that slower pace. But I mean, have you always been that kind of person to rather have? I mean, did you grow up in a city or in a sort of a rural area that compares to anywhere else you've been?
No, I am originally from Brazil. So I am originally from a city called Sao Paulo,
Okay.
which for those who doesn't know, Brazil or Sao Paulo is very similar to New York. Fast-paced nightclubs, theater, food, restaurants, like that kind of city. Always a fast pace. I think what I found is my whole life, if you look it over, it was always a fast pace, right? I was in Sao Paulo, fast pace. I moved to the US in Miami, a different of a fast pace, but it's still a fast pace.
Yeah.
So I think, when I get to Marco Island, and it's just kind of giving me the peace. And when I want to get out and go to the fast pace for a weekend or so, Miami, New York, and I'm always on traveling, right? Since I oversee so many different segments within, I mean, it's the leisure segments, but so many different channels within Marriott. I'm traveling a lot. I'm always on the road. So I think when I come back home, I wanted that peace and quiet. And needless to say, I am now hooked or something that called pickleball. And Marco Island, so many courts there. I never thought that I would like that game. Anytime that I saw people playing, I was like, oh my God, I used to play tennis. This is like a short court. And I used to make fun of the people that play it. And now here goes. I play every time that I'm in Marco Island, if I can, mornings and nights. And it's just a fabulous game. And Marco Island have so many courts, which I love it, right? So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it's interesting. I've never played pickleball, but I see it more and more often here in New York, the courts and people with the equipment walking around. So it does seem to be kind of trending everywhere. That game.
yeah, it's the fastest growing game in the US. But let me tell you, when you start playing, and it is funny, like I really like it. I never thought, like, I played volleyball when I was young, tennis, like, of course I'm Brazilian, so all Brazilians needs to learn at least 1 or 2 times in their life to play soccer.
Hmm.
So all these games that was, but pickleball, you really get the exercise in, and it's very strategic, and you have to have control, right? I mean,
Okay.
it's a small court, so you need to have control of the ball. Yeah, it's very interesting. So as I said, life changed, I think, with the
Yeah.
time and the experience and the age. We start liking different things.
Wait, so I wanted to ask you about Sao Paulo too, because I've never been to that city, but from what I've read, and I have a friend who actually lives there now. It's just an incredibly multicultural place to live, and I mean, people say you compared it to New York, which I'm sure it's very similar to. But it just seems like a very big melting pot that you can sort of experience different cultures, different people, different ways of life. And is that sort of your experience you had when you were growing up there?
Oh, definitely. So Sao Paulo is the funny thing, right? Because it's a huge city, and it's really truly a melting pot. So uh, if my camera was working, you would be able to see me, right? That
Oh, it's fine.
I live in São Paulo, in a place that was very close to a very Italian community. So I really definitely speak with my hands, and
Okay.
have those loud laughs. And if you get the whole family together, Lord Jesus, you don't know if we are having fun or if you just look like everybody's fighting because everybody's talking so loud and the hands. So that culture. But in the same city of Sao Paulo, we have the largest Japanese community outside Japan.
Oh
Right, so
wow.
you go to Liberdade, and it's Japanese even on the signs. It's very kind of Chinatown, if you will, in New York. But also, we have the largest Lebanese community out of Lebanon. Right, we have more than 4 million Lebanese in São Paulo, and like so, it's so many different cultures. So you can have from Mediterranean food to Japanese to like to Italian, and not to mention a lot of German. So you go to São Paulo, and we have one of the best Oktoberfest out of German. So it
Wow.
is it is a really truly a melting pot, and it's a very exciting city. You can find everything right there in there.
Yeah, I never knew the like the Japanese population you mentioned is seems so surprising to me, and even the German population too in Brazil seems so surprising. I always sort of had the idea of Sao Paulo as this big metropolitan city and as this big melting pot like we're talking about, but when you sort of get down to what kind of populations are there, it does seem surprising to me.
Oh, it's incredible. You have
Yeah.
to, like, like there is a place they call Bexiga, and you walk around, you feel that you are walking in the cities of Naples in Italy. But it's the whole thing, like you see the houses and you see the clothing hanging from the outside, and like it's that experience. And if you go to Liberdade, as I said, you are in a Japanese community with the Japanese lanterns and the red. It's just incredible. It is, yeah. And if you think about it, even on the south area of Brazil, so if you think about it, Brazil is a very large country, right?
Mhm.
So the south part of the Brazil is really truly where all the Germans have left after before the war, the Second World War, when they are fleeing from for German. So if you go to a place they call Santa Catarina, is the second. Of course, it has to be the second because the Oktoberfest in Germany is the first one, but it's the largest Oktoberfest in the world after German. It is, and you go to Santa Catarina, like 90% of the population in a sense it's descendant of Germans,
Wow.
Holland. It's is And everybody's blue eyes tall, like
Yeah.
it's exactly when Giselle Boucher is from, right? So
Oh,
you can see
okay.
all those tall girls, and blue eyes, and
Yeah.
blondes. And yeah, it's very interesting. And you go northern of Brazil, like on the north, when you have Bahia, Recife, such beautiful places, but you can see a completely different culture, right? The skin color and the people and the food is so different, which is just amazing. I mean, Brazil is a very exciting country. Have so many different experiences. Doesn't matter if you go north, south, center, east or west. Is You're gonna find something completely different to experience.
Yeah, no, I'm curious because how passionately you speak about Brazil and the different cultures you experienced while you were in Brazil. I mean, how do you think that's impacted you, like growing up there and your career in general? I mean, it has to have shaped you in some way, and it shaped you in some way to sort of have this longing to travel, this passion for the travel industry too.
Oh, definitely. If you think about it, right? So I feel that my family, my father, we love to explore, and he used to take us to those little trips, and as I said, explore different areas in Brazil. And I think since that time, I remember just wanted to learn more, and I remember always being asked, is like, try different food. And, as a kid, you always look to some things like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't think I like broccoli, or, like, so my father used to challenge us and say, just try once. If you don't like it, that's fine, but at least you have tried. And I think I learned that it's nice to go and find and explore different things and different cultures and different foods and different experiences that, can make you to grow, not only as a person, grow your soul, grow you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
grow your knowledge. So I think I just fall in love with that, and I feel the hospitality would give that opportunity to me. So definitely, I took the opportunity when I went to university, graduated in the hospitality, and I just realized that I love it. And also, I love people, right? And I love to talk to people that love travel because then it's different experiences that you exchange, these conversations that you have that help other people to imagine different destinations that they can visit, and the exchange of experiences and knowledge that you exchange when you are in the travel industry, the opportunity to meet new people is just incredible. So yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
shaped me to fall in love of hospitality and wanted to keep it working on it. And that's all I have done my whole life. I mean, I work in hospitality since I was young, and I will retire working in hospitality, hopefully. So,
Yeah, I want to get into your career too, but there's one more thing I want to sort of ask about prior to that, and as I know you're trilingual, you speak three different languages. And I'm curious, I mean, how does that happen? I know I assume growing up it's easier to pick up three different languages or two different languages than your native tongue, but what's it like being able to speak three different languages? I mean, was it a learning process or was it something that just came with the environment you experienced during when you were a child?
well, not necessarily. So let me think this through, because I don't think nobody ever asked me about being able to speak three languages. But
Well, I'm just
definitely,
extremely
yeah.
jealous, and I mean, I always thought I was a very good student in school, but I could never, during these second language classes, it never clicked for me. So I'm just curious how it clicks for other people.
So here is that in Brazil we speak Portuguese, right? Which Portuguese is extremely easy to learn Spanish from, right? Because
Okay.
the base of the language is Latin, and so it's easy for a Brazilian to learn Spanish because the words and the sounds are very similar. English was, I mean, since I was a kid, I remember everybody saying like, you need to learn English because that's going to be the language of, the way that you'll be able to communicate globally and so far so on. So since young age, my parents put us on the school. And of course, I moved to
Okay.
the US when I was 24. So I still have the Brazilian accent. I don't think I ever gonna lose it, but I definitely,
Yeah.
you get a better. But I have to say, the language that I'm dreamed to learn is actually French, which
Okay.
I start taking Duolingo on French to learn, because I feel that it's such a beautiful language, and I like the pronunciations and how romantic it sounds.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's my next conquer on the language side.
So do you have plans? Are you actively like engaging in French lessons right now to try to pick up the language?
Well, I just downloaded, right? So,
Okay. The
and
app.
I work with Mitch, and Mitch, it's from Canada, and he speaks fluent French, of course. And of course, in the morning or when we start a little conversation here and there, I'm always like, "Comme ça allez-vous? Très vous
Yeah.
bien?" And like,
Uh,
I still on the very early stage. Let's say, anytime that I go to Paris or to Cannes when I attend ILTM or one of those trips. I always try to get my little French in a better position than was the year before. So it's just a language that I feel that it's so romantic. I don't know. I feel that is really. It seems like you are singing while you were speaking.
Yeah, that I think that's probably the perfect way to put it. I completely agree too. If I could be fluent in another language, it might be French because you're right. It does it's so unique. It there's so much like music in the language itself, and it when I hear someone speak French, it feels a lot more sophisticated than if I hear
Oh
my
yeah.
own voice speaking English.
That is true.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, even if the people is fighting on French, it looks so sweet, right? I mean,
Yeah.
even when they are upset, it doesn't seem that they are upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you moved to the U.S. when you were 24, and I assume that was to sort of kickstart your hospitality career, something that you've been with for the rest of your life right now. And I'm curious if you could tell us a little bit about that decision to pursue hospitality, and to come to the U.S. and to do it here.
So here is the thing, right? So
Yeah.
Hospitality came. I knew that I wanted to be in travel since I started traveling when I was young with the family, right? So that's something that I have clear in my mind. When I look all the, if it wasn't to be hospitality, definitely was going to be engineer. That was two things that I had in my mind. I like to build things or create things, and or it was hospitality because I really truly like to travel. Actually, being in the United States is more my sister's fault than mine, to be
Okay.
honest. I was my sister is a journalist, and in 1990 or 92, I don't remember the exact year. So she had an opportunity to come as a journalist to be a correspondent from Brazilian TV, which she used to work, and she moved to the US to do that job. So I think it was in 92. I came to visit her. So I always want to work in travel. I never thought to move to the US. But I came to visit her in 92. And needless to say, it was my first time in Miami.
Okay.
And to be very honest, I just fall in love. I mean, again, if you think about where I'm from Sao Paulo, which is a very, like, it's a city. The beach is so far away. It's buildings and skyrock everywhere, and the fast pace. So you come to Miami, is that oh my God, I saw beaches every day to
Yeah.
go to work, and I was like, oh, I wanted to be here. So I went back to Brazil because I still had to finish university, and I graduated. But while I was finishing my last 2 years, I started looking for jobs, of course, and I found a Brazilian company that actually was building a hotel in the U.S. And that's how I said, here goes.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up coming. So they transferred me to the U.S. I think in '94. Yeah, and I stayed there. Yeah, since today. I never went back.
Wait, so how did you I'm sure there was a level of cultural shock coming from Brazil to the US. I mean, how did you find it initially when you made the move? Was it this daunting experience, or was it just so incredibly exciting that you sort of set this goal for yourself, and you were actively doing what you had hoped to do?
Well, I think I was lucky in a sense that moved to the Miami, right? So Miami,
Yeah.
in the U.S., they said that is the nearest country to the U.S., right? Because it's really have the Spanish community or culture, which has a lot of the basis of the Brazilian community and culture as well. So I don't think it was really truly that shocking for me.
Okay.
I think if I would have moved to New York or maybe some other part of South, Alabama, that probably would have been a little bit more like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
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 But Miami was that, kind of feeling, almost the same, be able to, catch up with the language, with the Spanish, and that probably was much easier because, I did study some English when I was a kid, but never Spanish, and was able to catch up and, and learn while I was in Miami. That was nice.
Yeah, I'm so jealous of like, again, going back to the language thing, just being able to pick up a second language just seems like such an impossible task to me. So hearing someone who's able to do it just makes me incredibly jealous.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is. I think again, open opportunities for you to learn more culture, right?
Yeah.
When you have that communication. I think communication is base of everything. If you think about it, friendships start with the communication. Business deals, start with the communication. And in order for you to communicate, and I know if people agree to disagree, you need to be able to speak to that person, right?
Yeah. So I know your title now is Senior Global Director of Sales, correct, for Marriott?
Yes.
So
So I
yeah, go ahead.
No, so I oversee the leisure segment for Marriott. So on my team, we divide into the AAA and CAA partnership, which is managed by a member of my team. Also, we oversee wholesale accounts, the largest wholesale US and Canadian based account. So in the US, it will be like Delta Vacation. Um,
Okay.
in Canada, will be airlines, Canada Airlines or WestJet or so travel brands, so far so on. So uh, those are and we'd also do tour series. So Talc, Globals, all these large tour series accounts. It's one team, a part of my team. Then I have my retail team, which deals with the travel advisors in the US as well in Canada. And on top of that, we do have another section of my team that they manage the groups that comes from the travel advisors, from the accounts that we are deployed. So it can be entertainment group like band, production, music or shows or theater, or regular, weddings, destination, family reunions, so far, so on. So those are the segment. Oh, and we still have some team members of my team that they manage the smaller TMCs. So, like for instance, Hickory, ABC, Internova is part of my team deployment as well. So yeah, so we about 12 people, and we're excited.
Yeah.
It's a yeah. I think leisure is such a beautiful segment, right? Because what I like about it is the fact that we are making people happy. I mean, we are taking people that have the dream to go somewhere, and we are presenting them with the possibility to have that experience, right? Getting them the nicest hotels and have that experience that the family will keep that in the memory forever. Different than the corporate, which is very important, business, corporate business, but it's more like transactional, right? People needs to go to do a meeting, and we're just providing them a hotel room, like I feel that it's so much personalized when you have the leisure experience. And and maybe because I always like to travel and I remember my family traveling, I think that's what also captivate me to be on this segment, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes perfect sense too. But I wanted so you mentioned sending people to the nicest hotels. I wanted to sort of get your take on what makes a good hotel, or what the best hotels do differently from sort of the other hotels in the market. I know Marriott offers hotels across price points, across segments. It's just a giant company, so there's so many incredible options for travelers, especially if they want to travel with Marriott. But I'm just curious if you had a criteria you follow when you look for a nice hotel when you're traveling, or if you look for a nice hotel when you're recommending properties to your friends or your family.
That's a good question. So I think the hotel it's all based on what is that experience is for, right? So like for instance, if it's a girls getaway weekend, so definitely you want a fun atmosphere. You want a hotel that you have a cool spot, or for the bar, or have a nice pool environment, because you wanted to enjoy the girls weekend, right? So I think what I like about Marriott, and that's is the fact that it's not much about all the price points, but is we have an experience for everybody. If you are a family, if you are a person that really have their wellness in mind, if you're a person that you wanna just that music, sound, you wanna the upper luxury, you are very into sustainability. So if you think about it, if that is important to you, you have Element, right? Element hotels with LED certified hotels that have everything green and that has organic. So that is important to you. You wanted the uh, as I said, their wellness, Western is there to serve you and to be able to help you to accomplish your goals. You want to, girls weekend, W
Yeah.
Hotels. Hey, I love the hotels. Is there? So it's all dependent the experience that you're looking
Yeah.
for. And I like the fact that Marriott, with our 30 brands, we really can serve our customer to all of them. Right, so you wanted that nice seating environment. We do have the Marriott, or you have the Le Meridian. They have that. If you're looking for culture, right, they will help to open the doors for all the museums and the arts around the hotel. So it's all about the experience, because that's how you experience the destination. It's
Yeah.
not about the TV on your room or the control remote. It's about the service that you get, the food that they present, is the experience that you're gonna remember from the destination that you were, right? So that's why how I select my hotels, and that's how I recommend hotels, is understanding what the trip is, and kind of get what brand is going to help that person to be happier. Because the price point, it's not necessarily, sometimes hotels is $10, $20 difference here and there, but at the end of the day, if you're going to have the experience that is really truly something that is going to memorable for the rest of your life, you will pay that $10 or $20, whatever,
Yeah.
$1,000, I don't care. You will pay, because that's going to be on your heart, on your memories forever, right? So that's how I choose my hotels. It's based upon the experience that I'm planning for that trip.
Yeah, that's a really an interesting way to look at it too, because I know travel advisors talk about selling experiences too, and you're not. I guess you're not looking for the right you're to get the right hotel. You're looking to fit someone's experience to match it with what they're gonna get in their hotel room and their location and what amenities are on site and things like that. It's about the experience more than it's about just booking a hotel.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Think about it. If it's a couple going on a romantic trip, you don't want to put them on a W hotels, right? Because they want a romance. So you need to look at the hotels that is going to provide that. Maybe a Ritz-Carlton, maybe a St. Regis, maybe you know what I'm saying. Like, so it's all a bit about that trip. And if you're looking for a family, trip, so you're gonna have the father, the kids. Like it has to be like what they're looking for, all inclusive. They have different activities that will get all the ages from the parties participating. You're going to have something for the kids, going to have something for the teenagers, going to have something for the grandpa and the grandma. So it's all about, again, let's take a look at the trip. And with that trip, what brand is going to make you happier? Which one offer that all the amenities or that will make you feel happy? And remember, because all about everybody talk about experience, right? Experiences can be good or experience can be bad. So I think in order for us to really have that memorable and good experience, we needed to look at overall to make sure that we are feeling all the senses, right? It doesn't make any good for you to put the person in a cool hotel, but around that destination doesn't have nothing that
Yeah.
the family or the family is looking for, right? So you have to look at the whole package, and and that's why I love the travel advisors because they understand the destinations, they understand the hotels, they understand because even before get the hotel, think about it on the airlines. If they had a bad experience on the airport, on the TSA, so everything can trigger a happy or a non-happy vacation at the moment that they get out of the house. So not that we control that, right? We don't control weather. We don't control if the line of the TSA is large or not,
Yeah.
right? But what we are saying is it's the whole thing that will make that memorable or not. So yeah, it's and the travel advisors, they really understand airlines, they understand hotels, they understand destinations, they understand activities because they are specialists on those. They are specialists on those destinations, and that's why I really um, feel that more people needs to engage travel advisors to really be able to get that satisfaction. You spend your hard money into your vacation to keep that experience going, and you expected that you're going to have a good time, but sometimes people plan on their own, not knowing what they're planning. They go to Google it things and like, oh, what is the 10 top things to do in the city? Get somebody that really understand that. Get a travel advisor that have experience, then I'm saying that have deep roots on that destination and can really give you the in and out of that area. So yeah, it's as you can see, I really do have a lot of passion for our segment and
Yeah.
our partners, the advisors. But and I feel that I really want, I really wish that everybody really when they go and have a vacation time that they experience and they enjoy and they come back with fun memories because that's the only thing that lasts your life, right? Is your memories.
Yeah, so I guess my last question, just going off what you spoke about and what we mentioned about the experiences. I mean, I know you worked for a bunch of hotels in Miami and in South Beach, some very well known hotels. But I'm curious if you have a favorite property that or a favorite experience that you've had in hotels that sticks out in your mind. I'm sure throughout your career and throughout your leisure time too, you've stayed in hundreds of different properties. But are there any ones that like stick out in your mind, or are there any favorites or favorite experiences that you've had at hotels that will always be very memorable to you?
Look, Daniel, if you think about it, I feel sometimes that I'm like, if you think about Marriott, right? We have 8,000 properties around the world. So it's like, I feel like a mother. I have 8,000 little children. So as you, a parent, and as whoever is listening to the podcast probably understand, as a parent, we don't have a favorite child, right? All childs are equal on the eyes of God. But
Okay.
here is some of the things. I think, as I said, if I'm gonna go out and have fun with my friends, I definitely go towards more the W hotels, right? Um, if I am going to really truly, relax, and I go more towards to the Western kind of resort. If I'm gonna go on a trip, a romantic trip, celebrating, the 10 years anniversary, that I stay probably more towards a Ritz-Carlton or some Regis because that gives that romantic experience that I'm looking for. Get the cabana with the champagne. So again, as I said, I am very much all about the experiences. If I'm a family and we are going to have fun in some other cities, maybe a loft or a element is good because the breakfast is there, or Fairfield the breakfast is there, in and out is easy, parking is easy. So again, I really try to get my experience with the brands and the reason why I am traveling. But I have 8,000 beautiful children out
Yeah.
there. I just we just start having a new little babies called all inclusive, which it's amazing. I to be honest, I been working in hospitality for a long time, but I never really truly experienced all inclusive until recently, when those babies start being born. And needless to say, it's amazing. Like, you don't have to worry about anything, and everything in the property. I mean, it's kind of a new development in my life. It's something that I feel now that I needed to get within the all inclusive, so many different all inclusive experience, because even with them we have that, right? So yeah, so it's all about the experience, the destination, the reason why I'm traveling.
Okay.
All my
Well,
children are beautiful.
yeah, I think that's a great note to end on too. But again, it was really great to talk to you. I had a really nice time meeting you and hearing about your story.
Thank you so much, Daniel. It was fun being here with you today as well, and looking forward to talk to you hopefully on the near future.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to see you in person very soon.
Hopefully so.
All right, well
So,
have a good rest of your day.
you too. You guys have fun.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
bye.